Sweet. All right, we are live in the Facebook group. What's up, Monique?
Hello, good evening, morning. I don't know what time you have, but it's evening here.
Yeah, where is everybody?
Right, where is everybody? I don't know.
Why do we only have 0 viewers? We've been on like 10 seconds already. No, I'm kidding. So we're gonna give it a second for everyone to jump on here. I'm super excited, guys. If you don't know Monique Linder, am I saying that right, Linder?
No. You're right, though. No one's really gonna say it right. It's a really German surname, so.
Correct me.
Well, if you want to say it in German, it's Lindner. If you say it in English, it's like Lindner or whatever. Just Monique, it's fine.
So we're here with Monique, and so guys, I am super stoked. We're gonna dive into a couple things. You guys can see, first of all, if you guys are watching the live right now, because we're gonna start getting more people on, I want you to like the video to expand the reach. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can like the video too and comment. It'll actually help us suggest it and get more of a reach on there too. So I appreciate that. If you've stayed till the very end of this, Monique's gonna be able to, she'll have something to give you, and then she'll let you know where you could find her for some extra help. The topic we're gonna cover today is a couple topics, unbelievable. There's a couple more I want to see if we have time for. So we'll see. We'll just see. But I'm excited. So Monique has this really specific expertise, okay? And she's able to maximize every minute of the day and literally create time that you didn't even know existed in reality, along with a few other really, really amazing topics we're gonna cover today. I want to wait because I want you to segue into it. But anyway, stay till the end. You guys are gonna get some freaking awesome good stuff. So Monique, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, I've been looking forward to doing this for a while because this is a topic that I feel like more entrepreneurs and big business too, should focus on.
Yeah, they all need it.
Yeah, so before we dive into the awesome questions, you want to tell us a little bit about because people are gonna go to your profile, you want to tell us a little bit about the elephants and why you're living out there and not in the States?
So funny enough, right now I'm not there. I change my locations basically every few weeks or month. Right now I'm in Berlin. Those elephants are in northern Thailand, and they belong to the Chalai orchid, which is one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. I would want to say that. It's a place where you can Airbnb yourself into a little bungalow. And it's my friend Alexa, she runs this place, and she basically founded this place. She rescued 12 elephants. Now there are 13 because we had one little baby elephant born last year. And with the profit of this eco lodge, she runs an amazing nonprofit that I'm helping out, which is why I'm there a lot. And we are helping especially women, but also actually whole communities to prevent and end sex trafficking, which is really, really big in Thailand, unfortunately. And we do so by bringing education to communities that are literally cut off from civilization. So in the middle of the jungle, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours from cities off, we go and bring life skills, English skills, Thai language, because they don't speak Thai language very often, and any kind of school education really to the kids and the whole community. And we educate women on the risks of human trafficking and how they can get away, and offer them a way out with on-the-job training in hospitality and tourism.
So how in the heck did you get involved in that along with everything else you're doing? Because you were in a corporate environment before, right?
Yeah. So 5 years ago, I decided to change my life completely because I had a big roller coaster in my life, literally. So I died of a cardiac arrest when I was 19 from one of my chronic diseases. And 5 years later, I had one of the most ridiculous, painful injuries. I had 4 discs herniating in my spine. I had a huge spine injury. While I had a burnout because I was bullied at work for more than 2 years. And so everything came together. And by that time as well, I unfortunately ran into people that didn't mean that well. So one of my therapists raped me while I was supposed to be treated. And so this kind of kicked off a whole change in my perspective situation, obviously. And I just wanted to change this roller coaster I was going through every couple of years. And I thought well, there's one denominator and that's me. So I must have done something, or I must not see something that I'm doing. So I should change that, right? Mm-hmm. So I went on this journey. I left Germany completely behind. I unregistered and I moved to Thailand to become a scuba dive instructor, because that's what kind of the first thing on my list. And from there, I traveled the world. I worked in different countries, and on the way, I figured out that all the people that I met, like digital nomads, business owners, entrepreneurs, just travelers, they all kind of had the same issue. And the issue was literally time management. Now, I come from a place where this had to be on point every time. With my chronic diseases that I have, I always had to be productive. I always had to manage time in a very different way. I studied project management. And so this was all I've worked in project management forever. I've been in IT and digital marketing since 2011. And so I kind of figured out, why not, creating my own business. And while I was traveling full time, while I was completely broke, because I actually got robbed in Hanoi and they scammed my credit cards and took all of my money. So I was completely broke. I decided to start my business and bootstrap it. And here I am. And it worked.
I love that story, because I feel like, and again, guys, we're going to get into the topics we said we would at the beginning, but it's so important to know this stuff. And I love hearing it because not enough people talk about it, right? Starting a business is hard, but you never hear about those stories. And B, everyone thinks because they see what they see now, right? You're successful. You've worked with some big clients. They just assume, well, she's always had it easy, or yeah, it comes easy to her, or yeah, but my situation's different. It's like, you won't believe what I'm going through. And I mean, you died at 19. You know what I mean? Like, you were dealing with obstacles that were supposed to stop you from being quote unquote successful.
Yep.
So I love that.
Yeah. And, I think it's especially when you see me now in comparison to 7 years ago, maybe, because that's when I worked in corporate Germany, it's a complete shift. And sometimes I have to laugh about myself, because it seems like I have literally broken myself. I literally broke myself down to the core, and that's not even a lie. And I'm doing that again and again, because there are still things to be working on, right? We are never done. And it's always a process, right? We are always work in process. And that's actually what I love. Mm-hmm. But, the thing is, when I left Germany, I've never expected to have such a crazy, exhausting, horrible, but so wonderful and worth ride to go through. Because I thought, oh, now I leave corporate Germany, I'm done. But no, that was just the beginning to kick everything off. And here I am.
Okay, so can you walk us through, what is because I know right now you're doing so many different things. So before we get into the big two topics I want to talk about, let's just cover this first one, since I did put it in the bio and the status. So what are you doing right now to help companies and entrepreneurs be able to literally create time? Because we all have 24 hours in a day, and you hear all these big billionaires and decamillionaires, millionaires, they all say, yeah, we have the same amount of time. You have to prioritize, blah, blah, blah. But we just hear those things. So what does that look like exactly? How can we create time?
Right. So that's a great question. What I do literally is I take my clients and I push the reset button. So for me, it's really important that they understand that they need to slow down in order to speed up. So basically, I developed a method that's called the TIME method. And TIME stands for time management, impactful leadership, mindset mastery, and energy efficiency. And in those 4 areas, I walk my clients through those different skill sets, methods, or strategies to apply to their life and their business in order to create more time. So in the beginning, what we do is we attack time management because that's the most efficient way to literally cut your work days in half. And a lot of people don't believe that they can leave like all these tasks behind, or they can't just, delegate all of the things, but it has a lot to do with your mindset of letting go, of making mistakes and being fine with it, of not having to have the control, and of finding your zone of genius. A lot of entrepreneurs trying to be the CEO, the technician, the creative person, the strategist, they try to be everything, but they can only be one thing. And only if you truly focus, and probably you heard of Ray Dalio's 80-20 rule.
Yep.
And I bring it actually down to 5-95 or 95-5, however you want to turn it around. So in the beginning, I'm really helping my clients to cut down everything in their lives and in their business, obviously, that what I call our bullshit tasks, because we are bullshitting ourselves into tasks that are easy, that give us this dopamine hit, that make us feel like we're achieving something, but really they only make you busy and you don't really move forward. So I'm cutting this out, and it usually reduces already your workload at least with 20%. And then we go further with prioritizing and special planning methods and my Flexi Schedule that I use for my clients. And then we go through leadership, we go through mindset, and the mindset usually plays a big role with every session. Most of my clients just don't realize that we work on the mindset as well. So yeah.
That is awesome. And if you see me looking down, I'm actually taking notes. And guys, you should all be taking notes on this, because what you're hearing right now, like if any of it sounds like, what does that mean exactly? Or that's interesting, write it down. Because you can then contact Monique later, and then she can kind of walk you through that process. Like, this stuff is powerful. You said something. So there are a couple of things I want to expand on. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you said letting go. I feel like people hear that a lot, but what does that mean exactly when you say people struggle with letting go?
A lot of times when you start a business, you get really emotionally attached to the outcome. And that makes you wanting to have the control about over every move in your business. And you feel like you are the one and only person who can do all of the important tasks. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's absolutely bullshit. What you actually need to do is you need to find the people who are better than you in those tasks and hire them. Because the only thing you really want to do is focus your 95% of your time on the 5% of the tasks that you are the best in, and that no one else can basically beat you. And that's why you founded this business, right? So let's say let's say digital marketing, right? There are so many things you can do. But if you are really, really good in just content creation, stop doing anything else. You just need to do content creation, and you need to outsource everything else. And now I hear people screaming at me, yeah, but I don't have the money right now. I don't have these, I don't have that. All right, so then you're kind of in a catch-22, right? So the first thing you should do is improve your product and your services so much that you can charge more. Then you charge more, and then from that margin that you increase, you hire people, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to, and this shouldn't be taking you longer than 3 to 6 months. And that sounds maybe really harsh, but it is. If you focus, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're saying that, guys, and a lot of what you're hearing here, especially if you're like really listening to everything and really taking it in, improving your product to charge more. There's two things happening there, and they're different topics we won't really get into today. But improving your product comes down to listening to the client's problems, because you can't create a product and then sell it. You need to listen to problems and create a product around that. So we're not going to dive into that right now, but I want to let you guys know, like when Monique talks about that, That's how you do that. And then charging more is this vortex entrepreneurs get sucked into when they first start out because they're afraid to charge like for what they do. And most of the time, this internet stuff, it's a high level skill set.
Yeah.
People don't see that. That's awesome. So when you say finding your genius, does that kind of like, is that segue into finding your genius and hiring people takes 3 to 6 months?
You can do it by tomorrow if you like. I mean, there's no time restriction. I'm not putting any limits on anyone because I feel like our ultimate potential is, to the moon and back. Like it is what you make out of it. So there's no limitations. There's no restrictions. In my experience, if you want to run it smoothly and if you want to scale smoothly as well, you want to take a little bit of time, and 3 to 6 months is a good time frame to actually improve your services, improve your products, implement it, raise the prices, find new clients that are attracted to your new service, and then find the right people. Because the hiring process that you want to go through is not just putting a job description on Fiverr and see who's the first one to raise the hand, right? You want to have a bulletproof hiring process that is just as much as qualifying your leads. You want to qualify the people that you want to work with.
And do you teach that kind of stuff? Do you teach how to hire people and stuff like that?
Yeah, completely. That's all in the leadership process. So I have a specific hiring process, and it's really based on your core values, because what people not understand is most of the people hire based on skills, but skills can be taught, right? But what about if you hire someone whose personal traits are just driving you insane? You cannot teach someone to change their personal traits. It's just not possible. They can try to pretend to be someone else, but it will blow up right in your face like a hand grenade just within the next year, if not even the next month. So you want to make sure, instead of hiring based on skills, you want to check that their mission aligns with yours, that they are really loyal, for example, or if you have other core values, that they align with those core values, and that they are excited to drive your mission forward, that they are not coming in to learn from you and run away. Whereas sometimes we are also creating leaders, so it can happen that you create a leader in your team and they're going to move on, which is totally fine. But you don't want to have people who are stealing from you or whatever it is. And it happens a lot if you don't align the core values, right? And so the second step is only to look at the skills, but to make sure that you have a systemized process set up to run every single person through an onboarding training in your company. And it has only to be done like one time to, for example, video training, record it, and then run them through this as soon they get into the trial, in the trial time, for example, right? When you hire them.
That is awesome. Guys, I know a lot of people hear this and some people might feel like, because when I first started in business last year, like developing core values and systems, I didn't see the value in that. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, well, that's woo-woo stuff. Like, I don't need core values to be successful. I can make X amount of dollars without that.
Sure.
And, coming to realize into this year where we're scaling a lot faster, it has been a major realization at the importance of core value. And, when I first started developing core values, I thought that they were things like, oh, well, I want them to be a hustler. I want them to care about the customer. And those it took me a long time to realize those aren't core values. So guys, if you're hearing this and you're in business, these are the secrets entrepreneurs aren't talking about in their ads or on their webinars. Okay. Mostly not even in courses.
Yep. And I'm giving it away for free.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. This is great. So when you said slow down to speed up, what does that look like exactly? Right.
So first of all, you want to take the stress out of your day. And what I mean is that we're putting ourselves in a artificial in an artificial space of anxiety, because the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning is thinking about, shit, what do I have to do now? What's up today? Which clients are going to get mad at me because I haven't been doing that, or whatever it is. But if you wake up in the morning and the first thought is something about your work and what could go wrong or what you have to do, and you're running endless tasks and task lists through your mind, well, then I have to tell you, you're doing it wrong. And then you have to take a step back and literally cut this all out. The first thing in the morning you should have is like how grateful you are to have another day to be alive. And then you want to go outside and get some sunlight. So now we're getting a little bit into biohacking, which I know you love. Yeah. But you literally, the first thing in the morning between, usually it depends where on planet Earth you're living, but usually between 6 and 8 a.m., you should go outside for at least 20 minutes and get sunlight. There are specific chemical reasons behind that and also biological reasons, but actually you're setting your circadian rhythm straight with it. And it means it's your 24-hour biological clock. And you want to go outside and push that reset button. If you're not doing that, you're messing up your whole circadian rhythm for the day.
So what is circadian rhythm? Can you explain that to us?
Yeah. So we have different, so basically, you know how we say like we're, humans are basically like a creator of habit, right?
I haven't heard it put that way. That's awesome. Okay.
Okay, so, well, we're a creature of habit, and the reason why is that our body is built on patterns that is running through consistently to be able to be most efficient, which is great because we want to be efficient, right? So our brain, for example, builds our behavior patterns in the first 7 years. And after latest 10 years, you're literally done. You're done with creating all of your behavior patterns. And the fun part is your personal traits and everything, they're already done. The only thing that you can change or influence afterwards is how you prioritize them or how you're building them out. So one personal trait is maybe more dominant and the other one maybe not. But all behavioral patterns are built in the first 7 to 10 years. And the same is for your body. So basically we have a 24-hour clock in our body. And it runs with the daylights, with the temperatures, with different outside influences. And it runs with different bacteria in our body and and so on and so forth, right? And we do have chronobiology as well, which is basically our sleep cycles. And so these two rhythms are the most important ones if you want to look at biohacking and start out with that, because you want to make sure that you don't interrupt them and you keep them in as natural as possible cycle. So as we are like hustling and grinding and working through the night and putting sugar and caffeine and shit in our bodies, we are destroying our circadian rhythms and our chronobiology. And we are making a huge mess. And we are preparing ourselves to actually burn ourselves out because our body cannot get back into this natural state if we are not helping out with it.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And for example, if you're working through the night and you're working in the dark and you're sleeping in light because you want to sleep in the morning, for example, you're messing up your sleep completely and you will be sleep deprived. One night of sleep deprivedness can already get you in a state of pre-diabetes.
Craziness. So what happens whenever you do this level of burnout? Because there's different levels of burnout. So what happens whenever you completely ruin the circadian rhythm? Like, did I say that right? Circadian rhythm. What happens when you hit that complete maximum burnout?
Okay, so I had this burnout when I was 24 and literally my whole life was a mess. And I wasn't able to actually take time off, which is the worst thing you can do because you damage your whole body and your mental health forever, unless you know how to work through. So by that time, I would wake up every single morning and feel like I haven't been sleeping for weeks. My eyes would burn like fire. I couldn't really open them. They would tear up. My sinuses would hurt. All my joints would hurt. Sometimes I couldn't even move. But because I was working in corporate Germany, there was, by that time, unfortunately, also pressured through society and whatever it is, burnout by this time was a myth. So that was just like a excuse not to work. So I wasn't able to get time off. And basically, it drove me into the spine injury by the end. So I had, from this burnout, I get a nerve inflammation in my neck and in the shoulder. And because I still wasn't able even to take sick leave because I was the only team manager at the time, I had 4 discs herniated in my spine, and they jumped out and they cut off the spinal cord. So one of my legs was numb and I wasn't able to move it anymore. So I wasn't able to walk. So you can see there's a lot of different things that a burnout can go through. Like a lot of people that have burnout, they drift into depression, which luckily I didn't experience. But basically, your body is so exhausted that you have like chronic fatigue, for example. You don't digest well anymore. You can get really bad stomach problems. There are so many things. You just mess yourself up. You do not want to get to this point. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. That's crazy. So what advice would you give everybody what advice would you give everyone to start getting on this path? Because going cold turkey, I've been trying to transition for a while, so I couldn't imagine having gone cold turkey.
Right. So, the first thing is that you want to work on the feeling of feeling guilty for not working. A lot of entrepreneurs, they feel guilty when they take a day off and when they spend time with their families, with their friends, with their partners, with their dogs, whatever. And you need to go back to where you felt guilty for the first time in your life. So just take some time, sit down, and just maybe write it down or whatever you want to do, speak it out into an app that translates it into text or whatever it is you want to do. But you want to find out, when was the first time that you felt guilty or were made guilty for not working or not doing a job well or whatever? You want to go there and you want to go through the emotion and you want to make sure that you do not feel guilty if you do not work on your business, because that's the first step, right? The second step is I would start to actually bring a little bit routine in your life based on, for example, your sleep. Go to bed every single day at the same time. Wake up every single day at the same time, including weekends. So you will see me every day at 5:13 awake, even at the weekends. And I'm not saying everyone has to wake up at 5. That's totally bullshit too. Forget the 5 a.m. club. Wake up when your body would naturally want to wake up. If that's 10 a.m. for you, then it's 10 a.m., right? And the third thing is go with the natural light. So sleep when it's dark, be awake when it's light outside, like when it's sunny outside, or at least when it's light. Some countries don't have too much sun. Hey, England.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I can see why this is so effective, because I actually made a post about my schedule and what that's starting to look like and the consistency on my wall today.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I can see why people can become so successful so fast by holding to the routine of this.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, because you're so educated in this specific space, what would you say is a disbelief that is actually a myth that most people believe with this stuff? Like, can you dispel one big myth?
Well, I think the hustle and grind is the biggest bullshit that we have put out there, especially since Gary Vee was blasting out like, you have to work through your 20s and shit like that. And I've done that too. and I didn't have a wine and liquor store that already brought in 3 million a year from my dad. So I started when I was 13 from scratch. And when I said from scratch, I actually scratched off dirt from the walls of a pizza place. And that's how I made my first money. So yeah, working hard, right? And so the thing is, we have to understand that everything that we do right now, if we work and grind and hustle and grind, whatever, is counterintuitive to our bodies and how nature is wanting us to actually work. So here is the motto, basically: slow down to speed up comes in again, right? So if you look at an arrow, for example, you need to pull the arrow back really slow first to let it go, and then it shoots like straight forward really fast and hit the target, right? Mm-hmm. So just imagine you're an arrow and you have to slowly go a few steps back and take this run up to actually be able to speed forward. And it literally looks like stop to ruin your body. And it took me about 10 years to understand that, really. Although I knew everything about it, it took me about 10 years to literally understand that and to go like, okay, fine, I'm doing it now, because it is hard to let go of these disbeliefs, but the hustle and grind is what will get you into either the hospital or any place you don't want to be. And so you want to start there to break that down. And don't be afraid that you're not getting shit done, because it's actually the other way around.
Yeah, so I think more people need to talk about that and need to start living that, because we are in this whole and don't get me wrong, I know Grant Cardone, very successful, Gary Vee, very successful, but they've been pushing this grind thing. And we see all these movies in sales and business and everybody's working. There's the stigma around the people don't come home to their families because they're trying to work to quote unquote provide for them. I think that's another big disbelief. That's a false justification that we say to ourselves. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is the truth, guys, for everyone still watching. And it always amazes me how we have this super high level information on here, and we'll only have a dozen people hovering on the live. Yeah. In this, for this type of information. But this is the information that will change lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
And yeah, so the minute you guys start applying this, it is going to change everything. And in terms of biohacking, what can people do? I know you gave a few examples, but what else could we do to help is it the biological clock, or what type of clock is going to help us start to fix the natural balance?
So there are two. So the circadian rhythm is a 24-hour biological clock. So it's basically your body clock that goes with the light and the dark and bacteria's temperature and stuff like that. And the chronobiology is literally your sleep patterns that are then basically dominating the way how you're productive and when you're most energized during the day. So if you want to start with that, for example, what I'm doing right now for my new clients is I'm implementing the Aura Ring. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
Yeah, I want one so badly. Can I just say something real quick before you talk about implementing that?
Yeah.
I was at a conference in San Diego, and one of my buddies stopped me, and he's like, hey, Rob, I see you doing really well. Do you have an Aura Ring yet? And I was like, I want one, but not yet. He's like, oh, you must not be that rich yet. And it was really funny because he's like, we started laughing about it. I was like, what do you mean? Why'd you say that? He goes, because as people become more successful, their routines become more intense, and then sleep becomes a big part of that entrepreneur optimization. And then their life actually starts to get a little bit more boring, and you're just not boring enough yet. And so I thought that was really funny. But yeah, so can you explain to everyone why people are implementing the Aura Ring? I want one so bad. I want to do this so bad. So can you explain that for sure?
Sign up with me, Rob. So how it goes is this. So the Aura Ring is a ring that tracks basically your sleep in 3 different phases. So there are actually 4 sleep phases, but they don't track the light sleep phase because it's not yet really scientifically proven how to track it, what to do with it, and everything. So they only track the sleep phase 2, 3, and 4. So 2 and 3 is basically the mid and the deep level, and the 4 is the REM sleep. So they track those 3 levels, and they track your activity levels, your heart rates, and different levels of movement as well, basically. And so what I'm going to do with that is, since I'm doing a lot of bio and brain hacking with my clients, and I'm implementing like an energy efficiency, that's what I call it, energy efficiency. I don't know how to else call it. Basically, what I do is I take the data that we get from the Aura Ring, and we're implementing based on that really specifically individually created habits and routines, habit stacks. So that's different things. And also, we want to go and find the most productive times during the day. And based on that, I'm creating their individual flexi schedules. And so what we do with it is we reduce their times that they actually have to work, because in the times that they work, they get way more done because they are going to be so productive. And based on the productivity levels and the energy levels, we can then choose what kind of tasks they should be doing. Because if you have low energy, you can still do some tasks, but it should be secondary or additional tasks, not your priority tasks. And in your high energy level spaces, basically during the day, you want to go all in with no distraction and with time slots, go through your most prioritative tasks. And that's usually the hardest ones to go through. So, yeah.
Man, that is epic. Yeah, I hear it all the time where people are like, man, I'm doing so much. My business isn't growing. I'm doing so much, but my family's getting left behind. Like, I'm doing so much, I'm not spending time with my significant other. Guys, this is the remedy.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. So this is the secret sauce, and nobody's talking about it for whatever reason. It just amazes me. Like, it comes back to this whole marketing stigma of like, sell them what they want and give them what they need. So everybody's only selling one thing. So it's the only message getting out. So I love that we're talking about this right now, and it's completely free in this Facebook group. So
yeah,
craziness. What would you say is the number one reason why people would fail at optimizing as an entrepreneur with this subject?
What's the number one reason why entrepreneurs fail to optimize? Fixed mindset. So here it goes. Sometimes I have people on the phone and they're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to optimize this. I'm like, okay, great. So one way we can do it is that, oh no, that doesn't work.
Oh, shoot.
Well, I tried something similar. I'm like, okay, I don't want to brag, but I have 15 years experience. And
can you talk about your experience real quick, by the way?
Sorry?
Can you talk about your experience real quick?
Yeah. So actually, it's a little bit more than 15 years, but so around 17 years. I started out when I was 15, and I managed promotion teams. So basically teams that would go out and would flyer for events and stuff like that. So I would build these teams, manage them, schedule them, and basically create all the plans for them, where to go, what to do, and all the stuff. And I was 15. And the reason why is I worked for this event company, and I have always already planned all their stuff. So I have this natural skill of being very organized and planned. And I have to give the credit to my chronic diseases a little bit, because they just helped me to be so efficient as well, because there was not much time without any pain or without any hospital visits that I could use to like study and go to school and whatever. So
by the way, I love that you do that you just said that you just like complimented and like gave gratitude to the illness.
Yeah.
Like, that's some high level shit. I really respect that.
I mean, honestly, they're like, they have brought me to the point where I am right now. Like, without all of these challenges that they brought me to, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be as strong as I am. And now we're just like basically kind of best buddies, you know. Sometimes we have a fight, and sometimes we just move along.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so then later on, I studied project management and event management, and I would go to London. That was 2007 to live there and organize one of the biggest international design festivals in Europe. Sorry?
Oh, sorry. The voice just popped on.
Oh.
That was commenting on a post. Sorry. So keep going.
Right. And then yeah, from there, I literally just moved along and went through different stages of leadership training. And by this time, I was 22 when I had my first team manager job for Siemens Enterprise, and I had a team of 160 people to manage. And I would be responsible for the restructure of all the processes, systems, and the team itself. So, and that was my first team management job with like 22. I then moved on to Apple. And from there, in 2011, I would go to one of the most reputable digital marketing agencies in Germany. And yeah, I would lead like $1 million projects or smaller projects, and had a lot of clients to work with over the 3.5 years I've been there. And I was always project managing on a very high level. So in Germany, there's no low or midterm level. It's only up there or you're not in. So
Shoot.
Yeah, it's German efficiency is real. It's really funny though. So yeah, so basically, and I started about it must have been like 10 years ago to implement mindset practices into the team management practice basically. So without knowing them, because I had to restructure the whole team, I would use some mindset methods and some psychological behavioral methods to get them to work in a different way. And so, yeah, that was the start of me going through different self-studies of psychological behavioral patterns, of neuroscience, also because of my neurological disorder. I studied a lot of neuroscience, and so yeah, there you go. It's a lot of that comes together, and that is now helping me to give the best results to my clients with that.
That's so powerful. And guys, if you are not at least reading up a little bit every day about neuroscience, you guys are missing a major component in how you, first of all, your self-awareness and your functionality as a human being. But just to backpedal a little bit, you said that the number one reason why entrepreneurs would fail in this entrepreneur optimization process is because of the fixed mindset. You recommend something, and then they're saying, "Oh no, I've tried that; it doesn't work."
Yeah.
So, man, I hope guys you're listening to this, because I hear this all the time too. I don't hear it as much. I'm sure you don't hear it as much anymore because your clients are different now. But I used to hear it all the time in sales, and people would say, "Yeah, it didn't work. I said that," and I would ask them, "But in what way did you say it?"
Yeah.
Were the words the same, or did you switch a couple words around? Was the tonality correct, or were you missing a note?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like when I have this Flexi schedule for my clients, right? So what I do is I create a schedule that you roll out through over your weeks and that you can use whenever and whatever. And basically it reduces all the decision making for every day for you. And it increases your brain space that you have to actually work, because you do not have to sit down and ask yourself anymore, what do I have to do today? What should I prioritize today? Which tasks do I have to actually follow up? So this is all solved for you, right? And the planning process for the schedule for yourself is basically every week, 20 minutes. So I probably save you already shit tons of time with that one. And then sometimes people come back and they're like, but I tried time blocking. I'm like, this is not time blocking. This is literally a method that I developed with different things coming together. And they like, have you tried it out? no, I can't really get into it. I'm like, there's no getting into it or not. Either you do it or you don't. If you don't do it, it doesn't work. Like, right? It's the same thing. Like, do you want to lose weight? You probably have to eat different and run a little bit, or like lift weights or whatever. But if you're sitting on the sofa and you're watching videos about losing weight, you're not gonna lose shit from your body, right? So it's just the same thing. Either you're gonna put the effort in or you don't. Like, what do you want, right?
Yeah, it is so simple. And everyone that just heard that, you might be saying this is so simple, but remember this one thing. If you guys are not applying and taking action to this and you're saying it's that simple, you're depriving yourself of something that you could easily have.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. I didn't realize what time. We have 10 minutes left, so I want to open up the floor for any questions. And Abby wants to know if shit tons of time is an actual metric.
Yeah. Abby, so a shit tons of time for you could be, for example, walking Oscar to the Hollywood sign, stay there, run around to every letter of the sign, and go back every day, twice.
Shit tons of time. That is the new metric. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is not live on YouTube. If you want to watch these live, you have to go to my Facebook group, SMA Six Figure Sales Secrets. So if you have questions, we'll ask them right now. And while those are coming in, so Monique, tell us, if you had one superpower, because now we're coming to a close, what would that superpower be?
Definitely creating time out of nowhere for you.
That's a superpower? Awesome. Why is that a superpower?
Okay, so time is the most valuable asset that we have in our lives. Once it's gone, it's never going to return. And it's the one thing that people usually regret on their deathbeds, not having been using the right way. So I'm going to create basically life for you if you use it wisely.
Whoa. Guys, that went from creating time to creating life. You see how important that is? I hope everyone that is watching this, whether on Facebook or YouTube, takes this seriously, because time is the one thing. Who was it? Not Bill Gates, but Warren Buffett, right? That said that the one thing I can't buy is time.
Yeah.
So this is some powerful stuff. Like, that makes your service literally priceless.
It is.
So, okay. There's a question. A lot of these guys really press how important reading is. Would you agree?
I say that much. I can't really read much because I had a little brain damage with the cardiac arrest. I was clinically dead for 25 seconds. So I listen to audiobooks. So I'm going to say this. Do not feel the pressure of all this trendy shit around you to read a book a week or whatever. What you should be doing is you should really get into the things that you are interested in and passionate about, and double down on this one. Whether you read, you listen, you talk to people, you network with people like this that are in this industry, in this area, whatever. But do not get pressured that like CEOs tell you need to read 51 books in like 5 days or whatever. Don't get yourself pressured to this one. No.
Nice. That's a good answer to a really good question. Because yeah, it is different for everyone. I read a lot and I press reading a lot, but we all absorb information differently and have completely different lifestyles. So I love that you were able to answer it in that way. Do we have any other questions, guys? Because these are really good. Because we have a couple more minutes left.
Just another thing, right? You can read whatever you want. If you don't take action on it, it's not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you read 51 books and you take action on none of them, what's those books going to do for you?
Yeah, just because you guys can make a post and say like that you bought a book or that you read a book, did you really absorb it? That is super, super true.
Yeah.
So true. Dang, that's powerful. Do you have any other tips that you could give us? Because we have like a couple minutes left, because I have another call here in 5 minutes. And I want to make sure, because there's so much information, what other tips could you leave us in a couple minutes?
Okay. One thing you really need to nail is prioritizing your task list. So you want to go to Google and you put in Eisenhower box. That's your starting point to actually prioritize your tasks. You want to write out every Sunday all the tasks that you think you have to do throughout the week. You go really hard on those tasks and prioritize them with the Eisenhower box. And you should end up with maximum 35% of the list. And those are the tasks that you really need to go hard on. And the other ones, just let go. You will see, just don't do them for 2-3 weeks. If your business still survives, you probably don't have to do them.
Boss. That is awesome. Guys, look that up. We have one quick one. And then after we answer this last question, we want to get where everyone can find you. And then if you have a link of something to drop in here, that would be awesome too. So Angel wants to know, what would you say is a good time to go to bed?
Definitely when it's dark. So I go to bed a little bit later because I don't sleep that much, but that has to do with my neurological disorder. So there is no one good time for every one person. Make sure it's within maybe 2-3 hours after it's dark. So if it's going dark at 7 p.m. for you, you want to go latest at 10 p.m. to bed.
Latest. Okay. Angel, does that answer that? You got that? That's a really good one. Let's see here. So where can everybody find you, Monique? Where are you the most engaged on the platforms that people can reach out to you about more with this?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm always on Facebook. So you can definitely just click on my profile and find everything about me. It's very yellow, so be ready. And you can message me. I'm actually replying to all the messages as well. And then if you want to find out more about the Flexi Schedule that I talked about today a lot, because it actually helps you, you just go to my website, moniquelinder.com/flexi-schedule.
Is that what you want to link in here? Do you want to throw that link in this? Okay, awesome. We'll throw that link in the comments here. And then I will link Monique's profile, guys, in the description after the video's over. So cool. You can easily make that accessible. This is awesome. I appreciate it. This has been really, really great. I know you have a bunch of other stuff that you have going on right now. So thanks for jumping in here. But yeah, there looks like there's not any other questions. So I guess We'll just call it. Guys, make sure you go to Monique's profile, add her, and ask her any questions that you have.
Yep. And if you have any more questions, just drop them down below and I'll come back to answer them.
Oh, sweetness. That is perfect. All right. Well, Monique, well, I appreciate your time and we'll be talking soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much. See you soon, guys.